I want to welcome you to another episode of Remember the Great Sports. This is a first for the Remember the Great Sports channel. As many of you know, some of you have met me in person, and I've spoke with some through messages and email. I am a pretty big in-person autograph collector as well. However, I choose not to share my in-person autographs typically on my channel. I don't want that to be the focus of my channel. I have the Through the Mail Thursday videos, so I feel that that's enough autograph stuff. I just don't want to oversaturate my channel with autographs. Maybe I'll explore the future and maybe doing an in-person video here or there, but this is a first, as I'm going to share with you some in-person autographs. And I'm not going to stand here and talk to you about cards. I'm not going to talk to you about baseballs or something like that. But these are one of the kind autographs that I received, and the reason I'm sharing these with you is I went to the series, as you can see here, to end the year. I know I'm a little bit behind sharing this. I'm about a month behind, but there were 4 major leaguers rehabbing at the Frisco Springfield Cardinals game. And you're like, what? Yeah, there were 4 former or current major leaguers at that game. Now, I went the first night on, I want to say the 26th of August. And I was standing down in the corner, waiting for somebody to come by. And the manager of the Frisco Roughriders, Joe Mikulic, walked by and handed me the scorecard from the dugout. The lineup card, excuse me. So the first night on the 26th, I was there. And I don't have that ticket stub, but I'm just showing these for talking purposes. But he hands me the lineup card. Well, naturally, being the autographer I am, I go out of my way to get this autographed throughout the rest of the week. And I'm going to share with you who these people are that I got to sign this. And you're just going to be like, wow, this is such an awesome item. With that being said, I want to throw a shout out to Chase in Ink, another YouTuber who autographs the Frisco Roughriders. Me and him have become really good YouTube friends. We have not yet met in person, but hopefully one day our paths will cross, and maybe we'll get to go to enjoy a minor league baseball game together sometime. So to start off, here is the lineup card signed by every player that played in the August 26th game. And the guy at the top is the manager, Joe Mikulic. I was unable to get to manager of Springfield. I just had a brain fart and forgot to ask him to sign it, but if he's back next year, we'll get him. So you're going to be like, okay, where are all these major leaguers at? Remember the greats? Well, I'm going to show them to you. All right, number 1, this is Tyler O'Neill. Tyler O'Neill was rehabbing that night. Second, DHing, Jose Martinez was also in the lineup that night. And this is Jose Martinez, the major leaguer, not Jose Martinez, the infielder for the Springfield Cardinals and Memphis Redbirds. The starting pitcher that night was Austin Gomber, who also has some major league time. He was coming back from an injury, and he only pitched 1 inning, and that was it. But he made the starting lineup, obviously, on the lineup card. Now, across from him, you're going to see a name named Volquez. Volquez is kind of a common name. It's not like Hernandez or something like that, but that is Edinson Volquez. So Austin Gomber started the game for the Cardinals, and Edinson Volquez started the game for Frisco. Well, I showed up mid-game. I wasn't able to get there pre-game, and that's when Mikulic gave me the scorecard, and I looked down, and I'm like, crap, Gomber and Volquez are on here. So the first night, I focused on getting Tyler O'Neill and Jose Martinez and whatever Cardinals I could get stopped. The second night I went back, and this is where the story gets funny. The second night I get back, I'm in the same scenario. I'm standing down in the corner after the game, and I'm stopping a couple of players. I stopped Leody Taveras, I think is the first one on the list, and maybe Andretti Cordero. And they're signing for me, and Joe Mikulic walks by and hands me the 27th. And I'm like, oh no. I just spent the whole day, all day today getting this whole thing signed, and now I got to start all over again. I mean, I guess I didn't have to. So, over a 2-day period, the manager gave me the lineup card out of the dugout. Now, being the obsessive autographer I am, I'm like, well, now I got to get this one signed. So, over the next 4 days, which is why you see this ticket, I spent getting as many of the Frisco guys that I could to sign this, and I'm just going to put the Friscos side by side here. So I'm going to go down the list and kind of talk about each player really briefly. I don't want to make this video too long, but starting at the top, you got Leody Taveras. Leody is one of the top prospects in the Rangers organization. I want to say he's in the top 10. He's a very young outfielder. He's been putting in his lumps at every level so far, and he hit Double-A about mid-season this year, and he looked pretty good from what I could see. So hopefully he'll be back next year, or he might be on the fast track to Texas, as good as he is. Michael DeLeon, the number 2 hitter, he spent the last couple seasons with Frisco. I don't know what their long-term plans are with him. I would be very surprised if he's back another year in Double-A next year. And the number 3 hitter, Jeremy Profar, the same can be said about him. I'd be really, really surprised, if he's back for another season with Frisco. He's, been there for a couple of years, so that'd be very, very surprising. Andretti Cordero. Now, this guy, the number 4 hitter, Andretti, he is a real good player. I mean, I watched him hit, and that guy can really play. I mean, one night he DH'd, the other night he played third base, but, he definitely has some major league tools that, you might be seeing in Texas here pretty soon. The number 5 hitter both nights was Charles LeBlanc. Charles LeBlanc, he is also a mid-round prospect for the Rangers. Another good player. Eliezer Alvarez, he spent a couple years in Springfield, and he's been with Frisco the last couple years. The number 6 hitter. He was been there a couple years, so I'd be surprised if he's back. And technically, I believe he played 1 game in the major leagues, so there's another major leaguer on here, and there's going to be a couple more as I go down the list as well. The number 7 hitter on the 26th was Tony Sanchez, and yes, that is the same Tony Sanchez that played in the majors for the Pirates, so there's another major leaguer that signed this. The next night was Chuck Morman, and the funny thing with Chuck is the game on Thursday was so out of reach that Morman actually pitched in the game that I was at, the final game of the series. After the game on that Thursday night, I was standing out by the bus and trying to get the guys to finish the second scorecard, because I spent Tuesday getting the whole scorecard signed, and the coach gave me a second one, and I'm like, well, now I gotta work on another one. So I stood by the bus and did that. The number 8 hitter, Brendan Davis. I want to say Brendan started out with the Dodgers organization. They got him in a trade a couple years ago. This is, I think, his first full year with Frisco. They converted him to an outfielder. I want to say before that he was an infielder. I could be wrong. However, he looked pretty good, made some pretty good fielding, plays, during the series. I remember that. Ryan Doro, playing second base and batting 9th. Make sure those are showing up still. Sorry about that. Ryan Doro got there about mid-season, so barring a trade, I would probably expect him to be back, with Frisco next year in 2020 as well. Now we talked about the pitcher, Edinson Volquez. He signed it. It took me like 2 days to get this signed because I couldn't. The day he pitched, he went into the clubhouse, never to be seen again. The next day, I don't think he was at the stadium at all because I stood out there waiting for him and he didn't come out. So I think he got the day off. He got to hang around Springfield, Missouri, whatever, because he was not physically at the stadium. So finally, in day 3, I got Edinson Volquez to sign both of these, on the Wednesday or whatever. So the starter was Richelson Pena on the second day. And I got him to sign it out by the bus. He's been up and down between AAA and AA as well. As you can see on the second one here, I got Volquez to sign it as well. I figured he is a major leaguer, so might as well get him to sign it. The second one down here is actually C.D. Pelham. He had some time up with the big club earlier this year. He's a lefty, young guy. Probably he's, going to have a bright future, with the team. Just got to put his lumps in the minors first. Back over here is Chuck Mormon, signed by his name. I'm not really sure who that one is. Oh, this is the guy that, oh crap, I don't have the roster in front of me. This is the pitcher that came in for Volquez. It's Tyler something. I apologize that I'm not remember his name. It's been a month. And this is Jake Lemoyne, who's a pitching prospect who also pitched in that game. But for the life of me, I can't think of Tyler's last name. I know Chase is probably like, it's this, and he'll probably tell me the name. But as I'm shooting this, I just can't place the name off the top of my head. So, anyways, those were the pitchers that pitched after Volquez. So anyways, very, very cool. Now we're going to switch gears and we'll talk about the Cardinal lineup now. Now, this is the 27th and this is the 28th. Or the 26th, excuse me. So I'm going to talk on this side of the page and we're going to go down. So the first night, I got Kramer Robertson. This is the former LSU star. He leads off, he kind of plays short second. They really don't know where he's going to play yet, I don't think. And he spent some time up in Memphis. So, I don't know if he'll be back next year, if he'll be in Memphis full time. We talked about Tyler O'Neill. Tyler O'Neill was there rehabbing. If you notice on the one on the 27th, however, I did not get him to sign it. He was not there the entire series. He was only there, I want to say, Tuesday and Wednesday. And I don't think he played on the Thursday, Friday games. And he was up with the big club, so I didn't get a chance to get Tyler to get this signed. This Cardinal side, it took me quite a bit to get finished. I was actually getting this signed the second to the last game of the series, which was the Sunday ticket, and that's why I included that in the video, because that was when I was getting it signed. Because I was focusing so much on getting Frisco that I wasn't able to get Tyler to sign that. But I was able to get Jose to sign, 2 nights in a row, luckily, because I didn't know how long he was going to be there. Johan Mises also signed it. He's been up and down between AAA and AA. I highly doubt he'll be back next year in Springfield because he played, roughly the last 2 years there. With time up in Memphis, and he's really done well in Memphis. So it'd be surprising to me if, he comes back, to Springfield. Eliuris Montero, he's a prospect in the Cardinals organization. He struggled a little bit this year in AA. He was the Midwest League Player of the Year last year in 2018, not 19. So they were expecting big things for Montero, but just some injuries and some setbacks really prohibited him from getting to where he needed to be. The number 6 hitter, Connor Capel. Connor was the guy that they traded for Oscar Mercado last year, and he spent all of this year in AA. Most likely, I would guess that he'll probably be back in Double-A next year, but you never know. Just depends on how they shuffle the outfield up in Memphis. Julio Rodriguez was catching one night and Brian O'Keefe the other. Both of these guys, O'Keefe spent the majority of the year in Springfield. He's played at every level for the Cardinals. I highly doubt he'll be back in Springfield next year, but you never know. Julio Rodriguez, however, only spent about a month in Springfield, if that. So odds are, unless there's a trade or something, he'll probably be back. One night, Chris Chinea was on first. Another night, Juan Yepez. Chris Chinea, also a LSU guy. He's been with Springfield for a couple of years now. He spent a little time in Memphis, so I highly doubt that he'll have a third or fourth year in Springfield. He'll probably be in Springfield or Memphis to start 2020. Radar Ascanio was a guy that they got in a trade from Seattle. I can't remember which trade with Seattle. I mean, it seems like the Cardinals make a trade with Seattle every year. It might have been the Mike Leake deal, the Marco Gonzalez deal, the Sam Tuavia deal. I don't remember. But the bottom line is they traded from Seattle to the Cardinals. He spent roughly about half the year in Springfield. Still pretty young. Wouldn't surprise me if he comes back to Springfield in 2020. Juan Yepez was traded for Matt Adams. If you remember that trade a few years back when the Cardinals sent Matt Adams to the Braves, Juan Yepez was the guy they got in return. Yepez only spent roughly 2-3 weeks in Springfield in Double-A, so I would probably expect he'll spend most of the year in Double-A. With that being said, it doesn't indicate it on this, but they were actually trying Yepez out in the outfield. He plays first base predominantly, but I think they were seeing what he could do out in the field, because there were a couple games, because I was sitting in the left field bleacher side, that he was playing left field, and I literally was looking at him most of the game. So Yepez is probably going to be back in Springfield, especially if they're trying to make him into an outfielder. With that being said, Angel Rondon, very good pitcher, international pitcher for the Cardinals. Really probably had the best season out of any of the Springfield Cardinals pitchers, in my opinion. So it'll be interesting to see if he makes it back to Springfield next year, or if he's in Memphis, or he's part of a bigger trade that is going to happen in the offseason or something. And finally on the bench is Zach Kirtley. Zach spent most of the year in Springfield. I want to say he got there in June-ish, somewhere around there. He's also kind of a first baseman, off the bench, DH type of guy. So I don't know, with all the first baseman infielders, if he'll be back in Double-A or if they'll move him up to Memphis. Or again, he might be part of a bigger deal in the offseason that maybe is a piece of a trade or something along those lines. So, in closing, I just wanted to share with you these in-person autographs. I normally, again, don't share my in-person autographs on my channel. I just thought these were just so cool and unique that I just wanted to share them with you. I don't want to bog down my channel with too many autograph videos, and that's why I don't show my in-person cards and all of that. But these are just so unique, and these will forever be cherished in my collection. Maybe one day I'll see Tyler O'Neill again, and I can pull that out and get him to complete it. But it is what it is. I'm happy to have this one in my possession, and I'm so fortunate that Mr. Mikulic was so nice to me those 2 nights, handing those to me. While I was standing by the bus, I actually thanked him, for giving these to me. I said, best of luck to you. I hope you, have a good off season. And about 2 days later, or about 4 days later, the Rangers parted ways with Mr. Mikulic. He is no longer employed by the Texas Rangers organization. So I hope Joe bounces back on his feet with another organization. He's a good baseball guy, and if he's watching, hopefully he'll land back somewhere, and I'll get to see him again. So thanks for taking the time to join me on this adventure, and pretty cool. Thanks for watching, guys, and happy collecting.